What if I were in charge of the Marvel movie collection? You know the deal with this by now. Here's part 3. Hello everyone, welcome back to my latest series which aims to go through each and every issue of what the Marvel movie collection could have looked like if a fan had been calling the shots. So let's jump into part 3, and as always there's only one rule for this: I can't touch on a phase 3 film until Eaglemoss did in the running order. So what that means, I've had a few people ask me, is that if they start doing Doctor Strange figures at issue 32, I have to wait until issue 32 to start doing them as well in order to keep the movie release timeframes realistic. Otherwise, the entire MCU is up for grabs, so let's dive into issues 41 through 60. So, kicking off this video is issue 41, which I've put as Crossbones from Captain America Civil War. A brilliant figure that Eaglemoss did, but I have elevated it that little bit further. I've included a nose on the transfer on the helmet. The skull does indeed have a nose, but they just printed it plain white. And I've also included some of the scarring, some of the red tissue around the eyes and the neck, just to kind of bring this figure alive a little bit more. But otherwise, it's a great figure, and I've actually moved it a little bit earlier on to number 41. And issue 42 is the ancient one from Doctor Strange. The only change I've made here is including that Doctor Strange logo on the base, because obviously all the Doctor Strange ones had blank bases for some reason. Otherwise, a great figure, and it's kind of the same place as it was in the original, so not too much has changed here. But there's a big change here. So for issue 43, I've put Iron Man Mark V from Iron Man 2, the suitcase suit, or whatever you want to call it. Eaglemoss never did this at all. So this image is one of Luis Cantos's customs, and he does sell these. I'll put the link in the description. Check him out on Instagram if you'd like to buy one. But they never did this suit, not even as one of the premium armors, and it's an iconic armor. It looks great, and that Monaco sequence with the racing cars and Whiplash when he first comes out, that is one of my favorite MCU sequences. So it's terrible that we never got this suit, and you know, to get Tony Stark in like his racing outfit rather than this suit was a ridiculous decision. So in my version, if I'm going to repeat Iron Man, I'm going to repeat him in a really good way. So this suit is number 43. And at issue 44, it's Arnim Zola from Captain America, the first Avenger. Obviously, we've just had an Iron Man, so now we move on to one of the more periphery characters in the MCU. The original Eaglemoss one was pretty good. I liked the pinstripe suit and stuff, but they left off the glasses. I'm not going to go through Glasses Gate again. So in my version, I've just added the glasses back on, and it looks so much more like him. Eaglemoss did him at issue 82, I believe. In my version, is a phase 1 character. It makes sense to do him quite early on at issue 44. And at issue 45, we have the Collector from Guardians of the Galaxy. And honestly, this is probably in my top 5 of characters that I would have loved to have seen that Eaglemoss just never did. And I'm assuming that's because of licensing issues. But oh, what a missed opportunity. What a waste. Because we are collectors. This guy is us in the MCU. He's a brilliant character. He's hilarious. He looks awesome and really unique, and they should have done him, and they didn't, which is a real shame. But once again, Luis Cantos, as part of his custom figurines, you can order this one as well. I'll put the link in the description, has done him. So that's the image I've used for this reference. But yeah, we really should have had the Collector, and because it's from the first Guardians film, we can do him slightly earlier on, issue 45. And at issue 46, it's the first Captain America repeat in my version of the collection. Eaglemoss was repeating Cap as early as issue 17, and you don't want to be repeating characters that often, but I think it's important to show off some of the more iconic suits. So at issue 46, way after issue 2 in my version, it's him in his Captain America Winter Soldier suit. And I've moved the shield down. The original one, this was issue 17 before, had the shield covering his face from nearly every angle, which looked odd. So I have moved it down. He's now protecting his body and not protecting his head, which already has a helmet on it. But yep, that's the figure at issue 46. And at issue 47 is Fandral from Thor. Not much to say here. It's a great figure, and it's from a film that we haven't had much from so far, so it's important to include him. And the only thing that I'm kind of changing is I'm putting the Warriors 3 throughout the collection, rather than one after the other, or pretty close together like Eaglemoss did, because people want that variety, and that's what keeps them subscribing, you know, keeps them collecting. So Fandral is 47. And at issue 48, Possibly not my strongest edit in the world, but I have gone for Hank Pym from the first Ant-Man film, and this is the third figurine from the first Ant-Man film in my version of the collection, and Eagle Moss only did 2, they didn't do any more. And I think Michael Douglas has this thing with licensing, and you're not allowed to use his face, or you can't have any merchandise. There is, apart from some Funko Pops, which as we know look nothing like the actors, there is no Hank Pym merchandise, so Eagle Moss probably would have never been able to do him, but I think it would be really great to include him because he's such a key character in those Ant-Man films. He has a lot of screen time and he's really integral to the plot. He's not just like some kind of periphery old person that just comes in, says some wisdom and leaves. Like, he is a major part of the MCU. So it's great to include him. I've put, obviously, on the base, I've put the Pym Tech logo because in my version the Ant-Man figures have that consistency, they have that logo, and I've also given him like a Pym particle disc in his hand. I'm not sure how Eagle Moss would have made that, but I felt like just having him in a suit maybe wasn't quite as exciting as it could have been, so I included that as well. But yeah, Dr. Hank Pym, I wish he was there. Unfortunately he's not, but in my version he would have been issue 48. And we've reached a multiple of 8, which means that it's time for another special edition, and special edition 6 in my version of the collection is the Destroyer from the first Thor film, because I'm kind of doing the large characters from the Phase 1 films first. Nothing has changed here. It's a great figure, and Eagle Moss did actually do this one, so I'm absolutely including it in my version of the collection as well. And at issue 49 we have Wong from Doctor Strange. Everyone loves Wong. I don't know a single person that doesn't love Wong's character, and in my version I've kept him the same as the Eagle Moss one, but with that logo on the base, obviously, to make it consistent with the other Doctor Strange ones, and I've also darkened the hair a little bit. I don't know, I just thought it was a bit odd that his hair was, he's not completely bald, he has a little bit of hair, so I think Eagle Moss could have painted it a bit of a darker colour. But anyway, Wong is issue 49. I've brought him a little bit earlier because I don't think these Doctor Strange ones needed to have been so spread out, because there are lots of other films to cover. So it's not like the Warriors 3 where you don't want to do them one after the other. They all look very different. So I've kind of moved them a little bit closer together so that I can do even more from the rest of Phase 3 and beyond. And at issue 50, it's a milestone. 50 issues in a collection. So you have to do a massive character, a fan favourite. You have to do this big culmination of everything you've done so far. Eagle Moss did a Dark Elf from Thor 2 as their issue 50, which is fun, I guess. But in my version, no, 50 is something to celebrate, okay? So I am doing Captain America Civil War Spider-Man. I mean, we didn't get him because of licensing problems with Sony. We did get Iron Spider because technically Disney owns that suit, which is a nice little loophole for us. But yeah, this moment, when this first appeared in that trailer, everyone went nuts. It broke the internet, and so that would have been a bestseller immediately if you recreate that moment. I mean, it's there on the front of the magazine. It's there on the figure that I've used as well. Yeah, this should have been issue 50, and also choosing this particular pose offers a lot of variety as well. You don't get many figures that are kind of crouched down and things like that, and including that Captain America shield as well. Yeah, so especially as I'm not going to do a Captain America from Civil War in mind, because we've already had 2 different caps already, so to include the shield with a different character, it just all makes sense. And this is one of my favourite edits that I've done. I know it's not hugely sophisticated, but wow, yeah, we should have had this character, and issue 50 was the perfect time to bring him in. Unfortunately, not the case. And issue 51 is Kurse from Thor the Dark World. A really uninteresting character, but my god, this is one of the best figurines in the entire collection, so of course I was going to include it in mine. I've moved it a little bit later to issue 51 because I don't think it's a character that people necessarily off the bat know, but we've just had Spider-Man, so it's perfect now to introduce kind of like a bigger character that maybe people aren't so familiar with to follow him up. But yep, Kurse at 51. And at issue 52, it is time to introduce a new film into my version of the collection. It's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and I'm kicking off with Gamora. So what Eagle Moss did here, I don't actually think was that great. They immediately started to introduce Aisha and Taserface, and they are not fan favourite characters. Now, I appreciate they hadn't necessarily seen the film when they were producing them, but you only have to look at the script on paper to realise that Ego and Mantis and these characters are kind of the main ones. But I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. So what I've done in my version of the collection is I deliberately lifted some of the main Guardians away from the first film to keep collectors waiting for them to get them from the second film. Now that's really good because that keeps people subscribed, that keeps people collecting, and they've always got something to look forward to, because obviously, you know, Gamora is a main character. But that also means that they kind of get introduced with a bang. You know, don't get introduced with a side character or, you know, secondary, tertiary character. It's Gamora. It's a really important figurine to add to anyone's collection. And then the other advantage is, of course, this outfit is one of her most iconic outfits in the MCU, and Eagle Moss chose not to do that. They chose to do her not quite so good outfit twice. No idea why. And this is just so much better. So we've got the sword, we've got the nice outfit, it's Gamora, it's issue 52, and then collectors can finally think, yes, finally I've got Gamora, what am I going to be waiting for next? And at issue 53, it's Howard Stark from Captain America, the First Avenger. You couldn't get more different from Gamora, and I'm trying to keep as much variety as I possibly can. So we've gone from space, we've gone back down to Earth. Yeah, this is a fine figure. What I've done is I've made it a little bit bigger because I think they got the scale wrong in this one. So I've made him a little bit bigger, and I've moved him much later in the collection. I think they introduced him alongside a faceless Nova Corps soldier and another Black Widow and Bruce Banner and things, and it just kind of ended up being a bit of a lull, putting him too early on. So I'm spreading him out. So we had Arnim Zola quite a few issues ago, so now we've got Howard Stark. And at issue 54, we have one of my favourite characters in the MCU, which is Rocket, and I've included Baby Groot. Eagle Moss never did Baby Groot at 1/16 scale at all, and this was the perfect way to introduce him. So Rocket, Baby Groot, couple of guns, a bit of rubble to kind of make it worth the money, makes for an excellent figurine. And, you know, people have just had Gamora, so now they can add Rocket as well and complete their core Guardians lineup, and I think that's really exciting. I know Rocket Raccoon is like a bonus gift for subscribers, and I'd probably keep the same for me as well, but getting this volume 2 version gives a different outfit and the opportunity to have Groot as well, and it comes in at number 54. And issue 55, it's Maria Hill from the Avengers. So it's been a long time since we did a figurine from the original Avengers, and the same thing happened with Eagle Moss. So what I've done is I've moved her much later on into the collection. I think she was originally 26. So to keep the original Avengers film that kind of kick-started this ensemble of the MCU, keep it spread out throughout the collection rather than just doing it all at the beginning and then never returning back. So Maria Hill is at 55. And at issue 56, we complete the Warriors 3 with Hogan. So we've had Volstagg, Fandral, and Hogan within the space of 30 issues rather than in the space of a handful, to kind of keep them spread out. These are very underrated figures. The likenesses, in this one in particular, and the weapon and stuff are very, very good. And putting him after Maria Hill, again, we go from Earth back up to space to keep that variety. And we've reached another multiple of 8, so you know what that means. It's time for another special. And this time I've gone for a special that Eagle Moss sort of didn't do. They actually commissioned a designer to sculpt it for them, and the work was completed because it's available online, but they never released the figure, and that's a colossal waste of the talented model. But Luis Cantos in Spain, he knows what people want, and he has taken inspiration from that, and he's produced his own version, which is what I'm using for the image here. But Laufey, or Laufey, the frost giant from the first Thor film, doesn't have much time on screen, but it's a really unique looking character, and I think would make for an excellent special. And before we get to Ragnarok and Infinity War and all of these films that have quite a lot of large characters in, I thought it was nice to kind of revisit a lot of these Phase 1 ones. So he kind of rounds off, he comes out at the same time as Hogan, conveniently, I've planned that, with the Warriors 3 and the Destroyer as well, to kind of round off a nice collection from the first Thor film. And at issue 57, we have Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Exactly the same as Gamora. Eagle Moss originally did it from the first film, but theirs was really uninteresting. He was literally just standing there. They didn't even do his arrow. Like that's like doing Captain America without the shield. That's inexcusable. So my version, I thought, when is Yondu at his most interesting? It's when he's got his big fin, he's got his arrow out, and he's whistling. So I've taken the Marvel Legends figurine for this particular image, but that is exactly what the figurine should be. So I'm not quite sure how Eagle Moss would achieve this arrow, because I know their products are quite delicate, so maybe they'd have to tweak that a bit. But he's got the fin, he's got the arrow, and he's even whistling. A brilliant figurine. And at issue 58, we have Kaecilius from Doctor Strange. I've added the logo to the base, but otherwise kept the figurine the same, and just moved him much earlier on, because Eagle Moss didn't do him until issue 71. There was a massive long gap there, and I have no idea why that was the case, so I've moved him earlier on. He's a great figurine, and he comes in at 58. Just a couple more in this video. So we've got 59, which is Frigga from Thor the Dark World. Again, I've moved her earlier on. She's a phase 2 figurine, but she's also in phase 1 as well, so it makes sense to put her in at this stage before we get into the midst of so many phase 3 films. And then rounding off this video, it's issue 60, which is Sharon Carter or Agent 13, whichever you prefer, from Captain America Civil War. Again, this is a character we never had, and it's probably down to licensing. I don't think she's ever had a figurine or anything that hasn't been a Funko Pop or a Lego minifigure, which you know, doesn't look like the actress. So there might be something weird with Emily Van Camp there, but in my version, I'd have it. It's quite a simple figurine, but I think it's very effective. Getting her from Civil War in that outfit that she wears in all of the concept art. And there you have it. That's it for another video. I'll be back with the next 20 very soon. But first, let's just have a quick look at how my entire version of the collection looks as a whole, and I'm really excited about how this looks. You know, every single film is getting exactly the figurines we would want from it and nothing more. Phase 1 is looking really nicely fleshed out. And having a quick look at phase 2, a few additions here for Thor the Dark World, and obviously the Collector is added to the Guardians of the Galaxy lineup. The Winter Soldier lineup now has a cap in it as well, so that actually matches the Eagle Moss one now. And yeah, this is all looking very strong as well. And Ant-Man getting 3 figurines instead of 2 I think is better, especially if we can make one of them Hank Pym. And then lastly, this is what phase 3 is currently looking like, and already I'm really excited by how these phase 3 lineups are looking. I mean, Captain America Civil War, they are all characters that are, you know, that haven't been repeated in the collection, which is really exciting across both teams, and then a couple of characters that aren't even in a team as well. Doctor Strange is looking very complete. Obviously all of those are original ones but with the bases. And then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, obviously missing quite a few characters which are coming up very soon, but looking so strong. And there you have it. That was it for another video. Thanks so much for watching if you got to the end of it here, and I hope you're enjoying going through this project. I am absolutely loving it, and the response that I've been getting on Instagram and Facebook and things has been fantastic, so thank you all so very much. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, subscribe right here on YouTube, and join that Facebook group as well for all the latest Marvel movie collection news. I'm afraid there really isn't much at the moment. It looks like it's all over, which is why I'm doing this project now, but I'll keep you updated if anything changes. Keep on collecting.